Chennai Super Kings are the reigning champions of the IPL, but will they be able to defend their title in 2024? And the biggest question on everyone's mind, is this going to be MS Dhoni's last stand? Well, in order to find out, let's take a look at the squad, the likely playing 11, and the differences from last season. First of all, let's talk about Chennai's auction summary because after releasing the likes of Ben Stokes and with the retirement of Ambati Raidu, they went to the auction looking for players to fit that middle order and they ended up buying a Daryl Mitchell for a whopping 14 crore. Then they also picked up a finisher in Sami Rizvi, who is a bit of an unknown person. Then there is also a Rachin Ravindra, who is an absolute steal. He's an upcoming star. And also a Shardul Thakur, who returns back to CSK after they failed to buy Harshal Patel in the auction. So let's look at the likely 11. Okay, let's keep in mind that it's almost impossible to predict what Dhoni does on the field, so he could bring an entirely different 11, but I'm gonna go with my best picks. So for the opening slots, I'm gonna go with Ruturaj Gaikwad and Devon Conway. But unfortunately this season, Devon Conway has been ruled out with a thumb injury until May, so I'm not sure who they're gonna go with. They might just slot in a Rachin Ravindra who might not have gotten any games otherwise, but now with Devon Conway's injury, he can slot into that opening position and actually make use of the power play. It'll still be a nice left and right hand combination, and it's going to be big shoes to fill because Devon Conway and Ruturaj Gaikwad were one of the best opening pairs in recent times. So first of all, Devon Conway scored about 670 runs last season, and on top of that, the opening partnership of Ruturaj and Devon was so good. They scored above 700 runs in the league stage as a partnership, and that just shows how good they were. This may just be a blessing in disguise for the franchise because Devon Conway was not in good form for the last few months. Meanwhile, Rachin Ravindra was making huge strides in every format of the game. So he's also a pretty good left-arm spinner, so his 4 overs at Chepauk will be vital for the team. Based on what I could tell from CSK's tactics last season, an Ajinkya Rahane would be sent in if an early wicket fell, but if the openers did a really good job, then Shivam Dube would be promoted up the order. For the sake of team building, let's just say that Ajinkya Rahane bats at number 3, and I think it's fair to say that he overperformed last season, because he had a few timid years at KKR and Delhi Capitals, but he had a blistering comeback in CSK colours. I don't know how he does it, but Dhoni just finds a way to get the best out of his players, whether it's through pure backing or respect, I just don't know, but Ajinkya Rahane was phenomenal last season. I mean, he scored about 320 runs, striking at 172. He just performed that floater role really well, and he gave a solid base for the team. I mean, you don't relate an Ajinkya Rahane as a quick striker of the ball, and he still somehow managed to compete with the likes of Glenn Maxwell, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hendrik Klaasen, and Nicholas Puran. At number 4 will be Shivam Dube, and he has a phenomenal game against spinners, which will only boost the confidence of the team while batting in home conditions at Chepauk. But the thing about last year was that Chepauk ended up being a very flat wicket, leading to a lot of 200 plus scores. He really took advantage of the middle overs, scoring about 400 runs at a strike rate of 158. And he didn't really have too many big scores last season, but he always produced these small cameos, and that's generally how the CSK team has gone about their business. Even though CSK lost plenty of wickets, everybody in that batting order chipped in with quick 20s, and that kind of mindset doesn't allow the opponent to get the upper hand. As far as number 5 goes, there is one obvious choice, which is Daryl Mitchell, who was their big buy at the auction, and he's been in really good form ever since the World Cup, so it wouldn't make sense to not play him. CSK really needs him to step up as a power hitter in the middle, but if he isn't able to do so, they do have a backup in Moeen Ali, who has been doing it for the last few years. Although he didn't do it last year, he only scored about 120 runs, striking at 130 odd. Maybe if Chepauk ends up becoming a spinning track again, then they might play a Moeen Ali, but then they'll have a bit of confusion of who to drop, because you don't want to drop your 14 crore player, right? For the number 6 slot, I've decided to go with the Ravindra Jadeja because he has had better batting performances in the IPL rather than international cricket, and there's really no point debating his place in the side. He's a good finisher, he gives Dhoni 4 overs of quality spin, and he's the best fielder in the side. So in at number 7 is going to be the captain himself, MS Dhoni. And if you've seen the last few seasons, he was underperforming with the bat. But in 2023, he became fitter, and he really improved his batting in the nets, and it showed because he scored 104 runs, striking at 180. Now I know that's not a lot of runs, but considering the position that he comes in, he's finished off games for the team, and that's what matters. Dhoni will obviously be wicket-keeping for the team, but just in case he does get injured, I don't really see any backups in the squad unless I'm mistaken. Their only backup option was Devon Conway, but now he's injured, so I'm not sure where they're gonna go. So now we move on to the bowlers at number 8, and I'm gonna be picking Shardul Thakur. Shardul in the IPL has sort of been hot and cold, but more so cold than hot. His batting ability does make him a valuable prospect, but it only comes off once in a blue moon. I mean, I remember there was just one match against RCB where he scored 68 of 29, but more so than that, I can remember the final where they needed 2 runs of one ball and still ended up giving Mumbai the win. So ever since he left Chennai, his bowling has not impressed because at Delhi he only picked up 15 wickets in 14 matches at an economy of 10, while at Kolkata he picked up only 7 wickets in 11 matches at an economy of 10.5, which is horrible. Hopefully Dhoni can get the best out of him again this season, and generally he does do better on slower tracks like Chepauk, where his ball can get stuck in the pitch and his variations like his cutters and his knuckleball come into play. So number 9 is pretty simple as it's going to be Deepak Chahar who swings the new ball up front, and generally when he's on a roll, Dhoni gives him 3 to 4 overs on the trot so he can break through opposition sides. He is CSK's lead pacer, although he has been very injury prone the last few seasons. For example, in 2022 he was ruled out completely with a back injury, and then in 2023 he got a hamstring injury on the field and then missed 6 games. So if he can keep himself fit and available, he will be a huge asset for them. So far, we've only used 2 foreign slots in Daryl Mitchell and Rachin Ravindra, so this allows them to bolster their bowling attack as they don't have a good death bowling option in their Indian local talent. So at number 10 for me is going to be Mahesh Deekshana. He's a mystery spinner who can bowl in the power play and even the death. I really wanted to try fitting a Mitchell Sadner into the 11 because he is such a great bowler in slow turning conditions, but I guess Mahesh Deekshana is a better prospect in flatter conditions, and you're gonna need that when you're playing away from home. He only picked up 11 wickets in 13 games, so they'll hope he does a lot better this season, but as a foreign player, you expect them to give you more match winning performances, but it's sad to say, but I don't really think he had too much impact last season. So as of the time that I'm recording this, Matisha Patirana was going to be my 11th player in the team, but there is news that he is injured, so he might just miss a few games of the IPL, if not the whole season. So if you were to look at the backups, there is a Tushar Deshpande who was the highest wicket taker last season, but he went at a very high economy rate. Then there is a Mukesh Chowdhury who performed really well in 2022, I think, but he was more of a swing bowler, so I don't really think he's going to help in the death bowling. But the only other option as a foreign pacer is Mustafizur Rahman, so I'm gonna go with him. He hasn't really performed recently, but they do need a death bowler, and I think he's the only one available for them. So if you look at the bowling currently, it's Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur, maybe Shivam Dubey and Daryl Mitchell giving a few overs, but they don't really have a death bowler, so they need a Mustafizur Rahman to cover up for Patirana because he was their best death bowler last season. So overall, this team has 7 bowling options and batting all the way down to number 9, so they don't even require the impact player rule. But if they do want to add an extra batsman, then they can play a Sami Rizvi, who is known to be a big 6-hitter in the domestic leagues. Otherwise, if they want another leg spinner, because they don't really have a leg spinning option, they can go with a Prashant Solanki. Overall, they have a great squad, but I feel like they're still missing that one death bowling option, especially with Patirana missing the first few games. This team is all about small contributions from every player, and when everybody's performing, it gives them more confidence going deeper into the season.